The Toyota RAV4 has been the best-selling SUV up until about 2025, and it's just in time because we have a brand new 2026 RAV4, and we're actually going to tell you a lot more about it, including show you a little comparison between the previous generation model and this generation's model. I'm Randy Stern, along with George Torteline, and this is Victory in Reseda. In its sixth generation, the 2026 RAV4 is brand new, with its intent on extending its sales leadership in the SUV segment. Exterior-wise, Toyota melded its current brand design language on the 2026 RAV4 with familiar shapes and proportions. Up front is the interpretation of the Hammerhead fascia's theme, which adds LED headlamps on each side. The roofline is more upright, and the rear glass area is shrouded by a rear spoiler on the upper liftgate area. Horizontal LED taillights and the RAV4 badge finish up the rear design. There is still a Toyota logo above the badging. Our limited test vehicle came with 18-inch machine-finished 5-spoke alloy wheels that looked the part against the Storm Cloud paint job. Inside the 2026 RAV4 Limited, you are greeted with a new for Toyota dashboard design. That starts with a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster that is free from any shroud covering it. Switchgear is more tactile with the new steering wheel and throughout the dashboard. They also included more stowage areas, including a provision for the wireless charging pad. We found some of the interior materials to range from soft to the touch to decent quality plastics. In the middle is a new 12.9-inch multimedia touchscreen that has integrated camera views and the climate control system. The software and interface has been updated for quicker response and fewer menu levels. Wireless smartphone integration is available as well. JBL brings the noise through its 9-speaker audio system. Upholstered in Softex, there is a leather-like feel on the large front chairs and the rear 3-place bench with split rear seat backs. Inside the 2026 RAV4 Limited, there is more space inside. That includes a cargo area starting with 36.6 cubic feet behind the rear seats. Fold down the rear seat backs and you have 70.8 cubic feet to fill in for major shopping trips. Our hybrid driveline starts with an Atkinson Cycle 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. Our test vehicle adds 2 electric motors for the electronic all-wheel drive system. In all, it puts down a net combined 236 horsepower. An electronic continuously variable transmission handles all shifts and power transfers.
In our thermal imaging analysis of heated features on the 2026 Toyota RAV4 in the limited trim, we find heating elements in the front heated seats start nicely in the upper back region and then extend down the center of the seat back. The seat bottoms have good coverage with emphasis in the lower thigh areas. Heating elements do not extend to the side bolsters, but they are adjustable by 3 levels of heating intensity. For the rear seat, the outboard seating positions contain heating elements also starting in the upper back region and down the seat backs. The seat bottoms have adequate heating element coverage. The rear heated seats only have 1 level of intensity. Up front, the heated steering wheel has good overall heating element coverage around its diameter and circumference and is adjustable by 2 levels of heating intensity. Outside, the side mirrors are heated, and the rear window defrost elements extend the full area of the rear window with an area of heating emphasis in the center area.
We love to tell you more, but let's join Randy and George as they take a closer look inside the 2026 Toyota RAV4.
So Randy, here we are. We're inside the 2026 Toyota RAV4.
The limited model. It is elevated, and limited is actually one of the 3 core trims that are available for RAV4 starting this year. Core trim is also added with a rugged trim known as Woodland, and then you have a sport trim which goes up to the GR Sport.
And with this new generation, they really, I think, refined the design on the exterior to look a little bit less trucky, but it's still very much RAV4.
When I look at the front end of the Limited here, it does remind me of the Crown Signia. This signature I've seen in other Toyotas because the hammerhead design is really what makes this pop now.
And I kind of see hints of Lexus because you kind of see that Lexus spindle grille silhouette. It looks very familiar. And the headlights are pretty much iconic to Toyota.
Now, also what's important to note, of the 3 types of trims that are available for the 26 RAV4, they have the distinctive look for each one. Like this is the core trim, which looks almost exactly that across all 3 trims. Then you have a different clip for the Woodland and a completely different clip for all the sport trims.
So they really made a RAV4 for different personalities and different desires and different markets, really, didn't they?
Toyota wants to make sure that there's a RAV4 for everybody.
And with all the trims, they got the bases covered.
Exactly. Even value.
That's right.
I'm liking the rest of the design. It's familiar, but this is coming from the last generation model. They did some tweaks in the shapes and some designs, and out back it's actually different than before.
Yeah, it is slightly different because, yeah, the Toyota logo, it's all blacked out, at least on this trim.
Well, and you can't even see it.
It's hard to see.
Because when you look at the back of the RAV4, it says RAV4.
Right in the center.
Exactly. So you think this is not a Toyota, it's a RAV4. On top of that, even though the horizontal taillights have carried over a couple of generations, this one's different.
They're all LED now, and you've got kind of a pattern of lines through them. Very different. And the turn signal isn't amber, it's just red, which we see on some vehicles nowadays. And also I'll note too that you don't see tailpipes anymore.
Oh, no. No. I think because of the hybrid and plug-in hybrid drive lines, you really don't need to see those. They're just tucked in underneath the bumper skin.
So coming inside, boy, there's some changes here.
This is a complete change for RAV4. There are some elements I've seen in other Toyotas, but most importantly, you have a different dashboard design with that 12.3-inch instrument cluster, fully customizable. You have the absence of the chunky dials. Instead, you have integrated buttons such as these for the drive modes. For the most part, the buttons are tactile. There's nothing haptic touch around here.
Yeah, regular buttons for the drive modes, but what about climate?
Climate's now integrated into the 12.9-inch infotainment screen.
You got your key things like your temperature and defrost, but anything else, you're going into the bottom of the screen, but at least it's always at the bottom of the screen.
Yes, looking at that and I'm going,
yeah.
I mean, you can use voice commands to at least change a few things, but for the most part, you're going to have to go right into the screen. You still have smartphone integration, which is a key thing nowadays because we're seeing this go away on several vehicles.
From other manufacturers.
Exactly. Toyota's still committed to this.
Which we certainly like.
Exactly.
I like my Apple CarPlay.
I do too. You also have a lot of cubbies. You have many places to stow things here, there, everywhere. The indoor pockets are really pretty good.
Yeah, but then you got this trick opening center console both ways, and you got double-sided where you can pop it out. You want the hard side up, you can just pop that in. Voila.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that though. You don't want to put everything on there on a longer basis,
Yeah.
especially when you're driving.
You might spill your drinks or things as you're driving, but at least you have a hard surface to work from.
Pretty much. Now, there's something else that's different. Notice the gear lever.
A little kind of a nuggety thing, isn't it?
It is. Now, from my understanding, this is standard on the Limited, optional on another trim, whereas other models have the actual chunky gear lever.
The old-fashioned that you saw in the previous generation.
Exactly.
It's a trend. You know, the drive-by-wire, you're seeing these electronic switches more often.
And this is actually a new design for Toyota. I have never seen this on any other Toyota. Except we're seeing this on the new Lexus ES.
And we've got USB-C ports for
Yep.
plugging in, getting power, different wattages for the different trims.
Mm-hmm.
We got 360 cameras on here, which gives us a nice view of what's going on around us. And that comes into play when we're working with the advanced parking feature.
That is neat. And you had a chance to play with it.
Absolutely. So it will help you find and go into a parking space as well as exiting from a parking space, where it will come up and ask you which way do you want to park. You want to do a parallel or perpendicular, and it does it in a way where you can have your back of the vehicle pointed into the parking space.
Which a lot of manufacturers who have self-parking mechanisms, they don't have that option. They just want you to park right into the space.
Yeah, I haven't seen that before either.
Exactly. Rear seat room.
Lots of legroom.
Yes.
I'm able to sit behind myself, and I'm about 5'7" on a good day, and I have about a foot of space between my knees and the back of the seat.
Whereas I'm 6'1.5", and I could sit behind myself. I mean, there's plenty of rear seat space, period, in this new RAV4.
And going back into the cargo area, plenty of space back there.
Absolutely. It looks like it could swallow more than just my rollator back there.
Absolutely. One wish list item, I would like to have back seat fold down releases when you're standing at the back of the vehicle.
That would be helpful, actually, for some people that are trying to expand their cargo length. And I've seen that on some Toyotas, but, you know, this would really be helpful here.
Yeah. Along with, I think, folding mirrors, power folding mirrors would be a nice option as well.
That would definitely be helpful.
And, you know, I think we need to get this on the road and see how it drives.
Let's do it.
Let's go. So, driving the 2026 Toyota RAV4.
Yes, we are. First things first, let's take on this roundabout.
Let's give it a little twist through the turns, and
a little bit of lean, a little bit of roll there.
but not uncontrollable. It was very much controlled, I thought.
Absolutely. And coming out of there, pretty linear.
I would agree. And the steering feel, I think, is really nice. It's very on point. It's light as far as the amount of effort, but it's very pleasant, and I like how the wheel feels in your hands.
It's a real chunky wheel there.
Absolutely. Power delivery. The hybrid powertrain, it's really nice. It's got a little more power for the 6th generation.
Yes, it does. You do feel it. When you step on the accelerator, it does accelerate. There's no hesitation whatsoever. There's no kickback from the regen system at all. It just comes on real good. And when it cruises, it really is just locks in smooth and returning some really great fuel economy on top of all that.
Yeah, we've been averaging lower 40s,
Oh yeah.
which is right on spec with what the EPA is, so that's great.
And that is one of the reasons why people want to look at the RAV4, especially this new generation model, because it's promising more efficiency. It's delivering on it as well.
So with this limited trim, it specs out at just about 3,900 pounds, which is about 120 pounds more than the previous generation. But then you've got features like this big panoramic sunroof that adds extra weight. But it still gives you all that extra efficiency and the performance.
And making sure there's no noticeable transfer between gas and electric.
It's very seamless between the two. I don't really notice. You can't really even hear the engine running when you're just cruising. And if you're doing some harder acceleration, the sound isn't offensive. So if you'll hear the engine a bit, but it's not really droney or offensive.
Unlike other hybrids we've been driving in the last several years.
Absolutely. So they've really refined that. And it's just so smooth. Again, I come back to the word smooth.
And that's an apt word for what we're experiencing in the 2026 RAV4.
Braking is nice.
Yep.
It feels very controlled, very linear, predictable. You can count on the brakes as far as coming to a stop. I have no complaints about the brakes in regular day-to-day usage.
I was impressed with the pedal feel. It's very solid. It's very strong.
And seat comfort it's okay. The seats are firm.
It's a little large though. Didn't expect the seats in a RAV4 to be this big.
Yeah, it can probably accommodate larger body types than you'd expect, but we're Americans, so.
Absolutely. That's why this keeps on selling in big numbers.
They're easy to get in and out of, so this makes this a good vehicle from a utility standpoint, and living with it, getting in and out is very easy.
Oh yeah, and especially in the back.
Some people have mentioned that sometimes their head comes a little close to the A-pillar, but I think you just need a little bit better technique getting in and out. Yeah, and talking about hitting your heads, I know we didn't mention earlier, in the rear seats, plenty of headroom.
Absolutely, yes.
No problem there.
Especially for us tall folk.
Now, the ride quality, I think it's pretty soft and supple, but it's not floaty.
Yes, it's really well tuned for especially most roads. We're dealing with a mix of rougher streets after construction and post-winter, along with smoother roads. I found that this vehicle is competent with their suspension system.
Yeah, it continues with its reliable McPherson struts up front, and you got multi-links in the rear with the sway bar. There's nothing too groundbreaking with the suspension, and I think that's going to pay off for long-term reliability that these are known for.
That, I think, is a big win for Toyota.
So in summary, Randy, what do we think of this 2026 Toyota RAV4?
For the most part, it has improved. It has evolved. It's, as someone said, this is not a revolutionary step. It's an evolution of generations of RAV4s. We're at number 6 right now. I see the improvements on the 2026 RAV4, and I think that's why people are clamoring to get one. They've been slow on getting units to dealerships. They have back orders right now, and perhaps that's a good thing because you want to continue that leadership, but you also got to deliver vehicles to customers. We know that hopefully by the time you're watching this video, that your back order for your RAV4 has been fulfilled. We know that there's a huge demand for this vehicle, and rightfully so. This is the next step in a lineage of a groundbreaking vehicle back in the mid-1990s. And it still is groundbreaking. Now it's all hybrid, along with the plug-in hybrid, and people are very, very hungry to get their new RAV4. Let me reassure you, hopefully Toyota will be able to fulfill your order. Hopefully you'll be able to take one home and enjoy it.
So we're checking the 0 to 60 time on this 2026 Toyota RAV4. So with the standard hybrid drivetrain and front-wheel drive, that's going to give you 226 net combined horsepower. But we're in the all-wheel drive version in the limited trim, and that puts out 236 net combined horsepower. So we're going to change our drive mode from normal over to sport. And we'll select sport and our infotainment screen. We'll hold the brake pedal down. Hold the gas pedal down, let go of the brake with our timing gear. So that gave us 7.25, 0 to 60. So that was with the slight incline. So we're going to do that same stretch of road on this abandoned road again, this time in the other direction, just to make it fair. We will line up, hold the brake pedal down, push the gas to the floor, let go. Puts the power down well, no wheel spin. A little bumpy through here. 6.96 seconds. Look at that. Very nice job. So this isn't going to blow the doors off of other vehicles. If you want something faster, consider the RAV4 plug-in hybrid, which has a net combined 324 horsepower. So substantially more power, and that will be much quicker than this. But this ain't bad in itself. It's going to get you on the highways, and you're going to have no troubles doing so.
Toyota offers 7 different trim levels for the 2026 RAV4 with either a hybrid or plug-in hybrid driveline. Pricing starts from $31,900. Our limited all-wheel drive hybrid test vehicle came with a sticker price of $46,883. So if you like what you watch, don't forget to click the like, subscribe, and notification bell to find out when our next video comes out. And don't forget to read our great content at victoryandreseda.net. And don't forget to download our podcasts. I'm Randy Stern along with George Torline. Thank you for watching.